Round 6 of the STP Irish Tarmac Rally Championship, and the action switches to the deep south for the Uniroyal Cork 20 International. Both the top two seeds were driving Opel Manta 400s. Here we see the NDT example of Austin Michael, the 1983 Cork 20 and Irish Tarmac Rally champion. Seated at 2 in the dealer Opel Team Ireland car was the pre-event favourite Billy Coleman. Billy's comeback this year has been fairy tale stuff. Having finished second in Galway, he went on to win both the Rotman Circuit and the Shell Isles Donegal International. If anybody was going to upset the Opel Roadshow, many people expected it to be Richie Healy. But alas, the West Cork and Wexford Rally Winners' Challenge finished when his clutch disintegrated on stage 1, Killavullen, making the Dubliner the first major retirement of the rally. Dublin motorcycle dealer Brendan Fagan in the Chevette started at number 4. He had started the season on a high note, winning in Galway, but sponsorship problems has led to a limited programme for the remainder of the year. Also in a Vauxhall Chevette HSR was James Doherty from Adair. Former world hot rod champion Davy Evans in the Autotune Nissan 240 RS was seated at 8. John Coyne also had a higher Nissan 240 RS for the event. AJ Keating in his familiar TB3 Escort, followed by the Dublin Crystal Vauxhall Chevette HSR of Mike Dunyan, the Tony Kelly sponsored Escort RS 1800 of James Cullen, while Pat Dunyan in the ex-John Coyne Sunbeam was at number 22. Stage 3 Ballyclaw Village and well-known competitor Frank O'Mahony was all out to thrill the spectators in the Rotman's course car. By now, a definite pattern was beginning to emerge. The two leading Mantas were in a race of their own. McHale, who had a problem with his brakes, was second. He trailed Coleman by 19 seconds at this point. The Mill Street farmer was a little bit worried about his brakes, but despite this had set the fastest time, 4 minutes 22 seconds on this stage, 14 seconds faster than teammate McHale. Fagan was third, but already trailed the two Mantas by 46 seconds. Doherty was 7th, but was slowed by wrong tyre pressures over the first 2 stages. Evans was 6th, but was destined to move up the leaderboard very, very rapidly. Coyne was holding a splendid 4th place, getting used to the Nissan's handling very rapidly. Cullen was giving the spectators a thrill a minute with a spectacular style of driving. He was 5th. Keating dropped time here when he had to stop to change a damaged wheel. Pat Dunyan was going carefully over these early stages, afraid he would overcook his newly fitted engine. But his brother Mike had a big moment on this stage when he rolled the Vauxhall. The car was badly damaged and the Dublin-based computer consultant was forced to retire from the event. Eamon McAllannan was taking cautiously over the first loop of stages and was expecting to speed it up a little as the event progressed. The first 3 stages were very, very slippery, and a wrong tyre choice did not help things as far as Dan Daly in the Nissan was concerned. Ray Benskin in the Escort was giving it all he'd got, while Sam Hawkins was not happy in pace notes and thought he might have been faster driving on the blind. With 3 stages gone, you're having slight problems with your brakes. Just how serious is it?
Well, I wouldn't say it's serious, but it's a problem we've had for the last 2 or 3 events. I just haven't been able to balance the brakes properly, and they're stopping the car pretty well, but I just can't brake as deep into corners as I would like to. But we might be able to sort it out.
With 3 stages gone, you're in 2nd place at the moment. How have you found those first 3 stages?
We found it very slippy. Other than that, we have no problems. The car's going very well, and it's room to dry up. It seems to be drying up a bit now. You know, it's very warm. There seems to be a bit of a breeze out. But probably be a bit drier this time.
Your first trip down to the deep south, has it been as exciting as you hoped it would be?
Very exciting. We only come down Thursday night and we didn't get much time to get over the stages with the notes. We made the notes and done check them. that was it. But been very exciting so far.
And what about your stage times? Have you been happy with those?
Well, we've been getting in there with a bit of problem in the first stage, running the wrong tyres and went off with it, but we're pretty happy.
But fourth-place man Coyne was about to retire very dramatically.
Very spectacular moments here, John. Can you recall those last few dreadful seconds?
Not the sort of spectacular moments we like to provide, but yeah, I just got a wheel on the grass. As I said to you earlier on today, the car is a bit physical to drive. The steering tends to be, it's a recirculating ball system and tends to wander a little bit. I let it out onto the grass on one side and couldn't quite collect it, and you saw the rest.
But the front wheel is punctured in the back one also. Do you think the car is drivable other than that?
It looks reasonably straight and it didn't hit that hard, so I'd say yes, maybe it is. But we'll live to fight another day.
So you're not going to take a chance and change one of the wheels and drive to the end of the stage?
We might do that too.
OK, John, thanks.
Thank you.
The battle between the two Mantas continues unabated. The gap between McHale and Coleman was now down to 14 seconds in the Corkman's favour. Fagan was holding down a steady third, but was by now almost a minute behind the two Opals. Doherty was sixth, but finding that the wet and slippery conditions something of a handful. Davy Evans, after the retirement of Coyne, was up to fourth place and was having a trouble-free run. Cullen, who was third fastest on the first stage, was now lying fifth overall. Pat Junion, after a cautious start, was now speeded up a little and was in seventh place. Another retirement at this stage was the 1300 Escort of John Moynihan. The popular Macroom man was forced out of his favourite event with a blown engine. Saturday's stages were in the Mallow-Erie and consisted of 4 stages, each repeated 3 times. All competitors were united in their endorsement of the use of pace notes on the event for the first time. Another improvement in the 1984 Uniroyal Cork 20 was the use of the Jury Hotel complex in the Western Road as rally headquarters, which enabled all the various activities associated with a major event such as this to take place in the same location. As Austin McHale blasts his way through the village of Killavullen, the gap between him and his teammate Coleman had now increased to 38 seconds. The hordes of dedicated Coleman supporters were in jubilant mood. Fagan was still third, but by now almost 3 minutes behind the two Opels. Brendan's comment at service, "I am leading Division 2, the Mantas are in a league of their own," summed it all up. Doherty's troubles continue as he goes through the wet and slippery stages with dry weather slick tyres. The Limerick driver's problems ensured that Davy Evans held an undisputed 4th place. Junyan was now happy with his new engine and was giving it all he'd got. Dougie Hoare in the big Ascona was having a worrying time due to bad brakes. AJ Keating's interest in the proceedings is about to end. It has been a very disappointing season for the Kentuck Baker. A hard-charging Ray Benskin gets by Dan Daly, who had again made a wrong tyre choice, and a broken driver's seat was not helping the situation. Brian Nelson in the 1600 Corrie Coltra was just inside the top 10. Barry Duggan felt a little bit out of touch on Saturday, but was expected to make a charge up the leaderboard on Sunday. Hugh Toomey and Con Murphy in the Sunbeam struggled through the final Saturday stages with a very sick rear axle. They were hoping to find a replacement unit and fit it at the first service on Sunday. As McHale goes through the final stage on Saturday evening, the gap between himself and Coleman had now increased to almost a minute. Coleman having set 9 fastest times to McHale's 3. Fagan was third, having lost a little time due to a wrong tyre choice. James Doherty, despite his many problems with tyres all day, was 5th. Davy Evans, on his first trip to Cork, was still 4th. Pat Junyan, who had now the Sunbeam Lotus engine fully ran in, was 6th overall. Former Donegal clerk of the course, James Cullen, was off the road on stage 10. The car was not damaged, but 4.5 minutes were lost, dropping back to 7th place overnight. Sam Hawkins, who had a troubled day with engine and gearbox problems, finally retired with rear suspension gave trouble on stage 8. Also out was Billy Daly when his Golf GTI broke its gearbox. Only 40 of the original 57 crews were left in the rally.
Brian, the slogan for Uniroyal tyres says that they're tread and shoulders above the rest. Do you think the Uniroyal Cork 20 is a way ahead of the other rounds in the championship?
Yes. Well, we feel that there's a special flair, a special excitement attached to the Cork 20 rally. We became associated with the rally for the first time last year and certainly lived up to every promise we've been told about.
Chris, Brian said this is your second year sponsoring the Uniroyal Cork 20 rally. At the end of the year, do you think it reflected in Munster with increased sales, etc.?
Oh, I'm sure it did. I think that the whole reputation of the rally linked with our tyres and the work of Smith's Wholesale, in fact, did a very good job for our company in this part of Ireland.
This is your second year involved. Can we look forward to your participation in 1985?
I must pass that over to my Uniroyal colleague.
Yes, I think we can say with as much certainty as is possible at this stage that we'll be here next year. It's a very important year for the city of Cork, and we would like to be involved along with Smith's Wholesale in the rally next year. And I think the fame of the rally is growing along with our brand in the UK, so we'll definitely be here if everything remains equal.
It's very encouraging news, boys. Thanks very much.
Now, just to let you know that everything...
Clerk of the course, Brian Curtin, Saturday night, has all the planning and preparation been worthwhile?
So far, yes, I'm very pleased the way things are going. Today went off very well, both from the, I would say, the competitors' point and the marshalling point and the club's point, and I'm very, very hopeful that our sponsors, Uniroyal, are quite happy, and I think they are.
Tomorrow's stages down around Macroom are supposed to be very, very interesting. Have you any comments on those?
Tomorrow's a different ball game for reasons being the stages are different. They're faster, they're more flowing. One is a completely new stage, and the second one tomorrow, which is done 3 times, is the old Mulliganish stage with a little bit at the end, which has never been used as such. The third stage is a very, very fast stage, very fast and flowing, and I think it will, shall I say, to a lot of competitors, they will kind of scratch their heads and say, ooh, you know.
And of course, Uniroyal has a lot of momentum and spirit put back into the Cork 20, would you agree?
I think so. I think they are a very enthusiastic sponsor, and I'm delighted they're still with us, and I hope hopefully for 85, which is the big year in Cork, as you know, the 800 charter of the city, and I would love if they would be involved, and I think they will be, because the show this weekend has been tremendous, both from the club's point of view and from Uniroyal.
Well, we hope they will, and we look forward to meeting you next year, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
The last few stages yesterday evening were very, very slippy. Did that cause you much problems?
Well, I think it was the same for everybody, and you know, nobody likes driving in that kind of condition. But as I say, it was the same for every driver. So I'd say it won't be much better today. It's bright now, but I'd say where we're heading into it could be, you know, into the hills. It could be fairly damp. So there'll be a lot of drama today.
Brendan, in third place at the moment, is a top-class finish in the Cork 20 on for you at last?
Well, I would hope so. We're just going to try and maintain station today and keep the people behind us at bay.
You lost a lot of time yesterday due to wrong tyre choice, I think.
We did, yeah. We lost probably a half a minute. We were trying to go through watery stages with slicks on, but I don't think it'll make much difference. I think the Mantas are nearly 4 minutes ahead of us anyway.
And at this stage, have you given up all hope of catching those 2 Mantas in front of you?
I wouldn't be hoping to do anything. I'm just going to try and maintain third, and maybe one of them will break down for a change.
But we hope that you'll get to the finish and the top-class finish as well. Thanks, Brendan.
Thanks, Michael.
As the competitors started the second leg of the rally on Sunday, the leaderboard was as follows. Coleman, 88 minutes 48 seconds. McHale, 89 minutes 43 seconds. Fagan, 93 minutes 3 seconds. Evans, 94 minutes 43 seconds. Doherty, 95 minutes 45 seconds. Coleman was the first car on the road, but it was Fagan who was second through the first stage. Where was McHale? News of what had happened was beginning to come true. On leaving the Lissarda service area on the long route from Cork, the oil light had come on due to a broken oil pump drive pulley. Fortunately, Austin stopped the car in time and no damage was done. The service garage was in hand and carried out the necessary repairs. But the Rathcoole plant hire contractor collected a 9-minute road penalty equal to 90 seconds in stage times. He dropped a further 27 seconds on the first Sunday stage, Mushra Mountain, when he overshot at the first junction. The battle for the Uniroyal Cork 20 was almost over. Davy Evans was now under tremendous pressure from James Doherty after the Maraman had put the big Nissan off into a bog for 45 seconds towards the end of the Malacanish stage. The Sunday leg of the rally consisted of 3 stages to the north and west of Macroom, each repeated 3 times. The day started dry but dull, and most drivers, not knowing what to expect up there in the hills, choose intermediate tyres to be on the safe side. Brian Nelson was 8th and was still trying to come to grips after his big off in Wexford a few weeks previously. Hugh Toomey and Con Murphy had made a dramatic dash to West Cork on Saturday night for a replacement rear axle. They were now going okay and were just inside the top 10. Dougie Hoare was unable to make pace notes for the event and had to drive all the stages on the blind. McHale was not giving up yet. He set the fastest time on this stage, Ballyvoig, taking 2 seconds back off Coleman. But Coleman, who set an amazing fast time on the first stage, was still reluctant to trust the brakes of the Manta. Fagan had lost a little time when he damaged a wheel in a pothole after the first Sunday stage. Evans was still 4th, but the gap between the Nissan and the Vauxhall of Doherty was getting smaller by the mile. Pat Junyan now had to cope with a damaged thumb when the steering of the Sunbeam had kicked suddenly. Cullen, like Fagan, also dropped a little time on the first stage of the day with a damaged wheel. Ray Benskin was having a steady drive and was 9th overall. Barry Duggan's problems continue and he loses more time with a broken throttle linkage. Come on lads, hurry it up.
Come on.
After a hasty repair job, navigator Philip Bynahan finds his place on the notes and away they go.
Austin in second place overnight, but you're running away down the field at the moment. What seems to be the problem?
The problem this morning going into the first stage, the drive pulley to the oil pump is still sheared in it. So we're lucky enough, the engine's been damaged. We thought it was damaged, and the first stage the oil light flicked just going onto it, but we have it sorted out now. It seems okay.
But you didn't lose any stage time as a result, I presume?
We did. We lost over 30 seconds on the first stage. I think it's 33 seconds to Billy, and then we were fast over the last two as far as I know. I think he took 3 seconds off in the second last one. But, other than that.
And what's the exact gap between yourself and Billy at the moment now?
Some less around 1:24, minute 24.
Thanks, Austin. Dan Daly, are you happy with your performance in the Uniroyal Cork 20 to date?
No, totally. I'm a wee bit... I don't know what has happened to me, but yesterday just couldn't get going at all. We were caught twice with out and wrong tyres. Then the seat of the car broke, the driver's seat broke, which left it very awkward. This morning we've gone over the first 3 stages, we've gone over them fairly quickly, and we've pulled a bit of time back. We started 18th, we're back to about 13th or 14th. So I hope to keep her going and get up near the top 10 if I can.
We look forward to meet you later on this evening, Dan. Thanks.
Thank you.
James Cullen, at one stage you were up as far as 3rd place, but you had your problems yesterday evening, I gather.
Yes, we were 3rd fastest on the first stage of the rally, and we dropped back into 4th, which we held most of the day. And we slid off on a slipping 90 left, I think was stage 9. And there was no one there to push us back on again, so we dropped 4.5 minutes, which leaves us, we're trying to hold on to. We're holding 7th now.
And do you find today's stages are way more suitable for your escort than they were on yesterday?
Well, we're trying quite hard this morning, and we're taking a few seconds back, but then we had a pothole on the second stage out this morning and bent the back wheel and bust the tyre. So just all we can do now is keep going.
And how much stage times did you drop on that occasion?
I would say we dropped about 30-40 seconds altogether.
But no place overall?
No place overall, no. With about 5 minutes the next person behind us.
OK, James, keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
James, lots of problems on yesterday, but you're looking way happier today.
Well, we are happier. Like, we're on right tyres and right tyre pressures, and we're definitely going better. But the lads are still going very hard. They've had enough, so we've brought back a bit of time on them. And they've lost 45 seconds on Mulcanish to us. And we've taken 9 on the last one, so if we can keep it going that way.
And what would that leave the gap between yourself and Davy Evans at the moment?
14 seconds as it stands.
All to play for, James, thank you.
Oh yeah, all to go for.
Davy, there's a little rumour going around that you had a slight problem on the second stage this morning. What happened?
Well, just a slight problem. I come into a slight right, K-right, and just stay on and a bog. And we got to push out right enough, but it took a lot of time to get out.
And how much stage times did you drop as a result?
Must have been very nearly a minute.
But no major car damage, I presume?
No, there was no damage to the car at all. Lucky enough it was a bug.
Keep it up, Davy, thank you.
Thank you.
Austin McHale at that interview session had forgot to take into account the road penalties he had collected that morning. At that point in time, almost 4 minutes separated Coleman and himself. The rain was now beginning to come down and making the remaining stages very slippy and tricky. Fagan was still driving at his own pace, content to stay 3rd. Davy Evans and Roy Kernahan in the Autotune car were still successfully holding off James Doherty. Pat Dunian and Kevin Kiley were happy in 6th and having a trouble-free run today. James Cullen's main interest at this stage was to get to the finish. He was nursing a very noisy gearbox and was keeping his fingers crossed that it would hold out until the finish. Joe Butler was 3rd in Group A behind Martin Granton and Damien Campbell. But there was no change all day in the top 5 placings, which, to recap, were Billy Coleman, 127 minutes 41 seconds, McHale, 132 minutes 5 seconds, Fagan, 133 minutes 9 seconds, Evans, 136 minutes 9 seconds, Doherty, 136 minutes 23 seconds.
Martin, at the last service you were leading Group A. Has that position changed at all over these last stages?
Yeah, I reckon it is. We ran out of petrol, believe it or not, in the middle of that stage. Just after meeting, the chap that was second in Group A, Damien Campbell, and he was stopped in the stage. And a mile later on, we ran out of petrol, which really shattered our hopes for Group A now at this stage.
Billy, with well over a minute of a lead and 3 stages left, do you think that you're home and dry at this stage?
Well, I think you can never say that, but surely we must have an excellent chance now, barring puncture or something like that. We should be okay, I think.
And you had no problems at all with the car today or yesterday, I think?
No, none at all. The only problem we had was, I think I told you earlier, was the brakes, and we've those fairly well sorted now, I think.
Some threatening clouds are overhead at the moment. What will you use for these last 3 stages? Are you going to stay in intermediates?
Well, I think we probably will. There's no point in taking risks now at this point. So intermediate is quite a good tire, and those ones are quite good on a dry road anyway. So they should be okay, I think.
Best luck to you for the 3, Billy. Thanks.
Yeah.
Heavy rain and treacherous driving conditions greeted the drivers over the final loop of 3 stages. McHale goes through, any hope of causing an upset disappearing by the mile. All Coleman had to do now was to cruise to the finish. The Irish Tarmac title was his for the taking. The only problem Brendan Fagan had all day was a broken alternator pulley, which he changed at service. James Doherty's interest in the event was about to come to an end at the flying finish of the Ballybuig stage at Raleigh Bridge, when he put the Vauxhall off the road. By the time he got mobile again, the Adair man was over maximum lateness, giving Davy Evans a safe 4th place. Though James Cullen held a comfortable 6th, he was still giving the large crowds of spectators value for money with his aggressive style of driving. The struggle for Group A proved to be a nail-biting affair and was not sorted out until the very final stage. Damien Campbell was the initial leader, but he handed the lead to Martin Granton when his steering arm broke in the sandbag. Granton hit trouble when the Ritmo 105 was slowed by a faulty fuel pump over the final few stages, giving the lead to Joe Butler in the Opel Manta. Then, on the final stage, it happened again, when the Carrigal-Shure garage proprietor had to stop to change a puncture. The new and final leader of the group was a very surprised John Venier in the Opel Ascona. Many crews had joined James Doherty in retirement on Sunday. These included the Group A leader Damien Campbell in the Samba. Mill Street's John Moynihan retired his Escort with a broken half shaft. Also out was Aidan Morrow in the Sunbeam with faulty electrics. It had been a tough and grueling event, a point borne out by the fact that only 31 crews made it back to the finish at Jury's Hotel. At the finish, all competitors agreed it had been an excellent event, and pace notes were here to stay. The organisers, the Munster Motorcycle and Car Club, and particularly Clerk of the Course Brian Curtin and his assistant Alan Verso, can look back with pride to a well-organised 1984 Uniroyal Cork 20. Before we have our final look at the top 10, we have time to see some of the other finishers. Here we see Joe Butler in the Manta, who finished 3rd in Group A. The Escort XR3 of John Dennis and Ted Creedon, who were 2nd in Class 1. Derek Skinner in the Triumph TR7 V8. So, to the top 10 finishers in the Uniroyal Cork 20 in reverse order was: in 10th place in the Talbot Sunbeam was Hugh Toomey and Con Murphy. Bruce and Martin Blake finished 9th, having been slowed by back axle problems on Sunday. Ray Benskin and Oliver Welsh drove a steady rally in the Glenside Holmes Escort to finish 8th. Despite some late panic with a damaged gearbox, Brian Elson and Robbie Philpott brought the difficult-to-handle Corey Coltra home in 7th position. Sixth place went to James Cullen, navigated by Seamus Gormley in the Tony Kelly car's Escort, after a brilliant drive by the Letterkenny man. Following a rather slow start on Saturday, Pat Dunnion and Kevin Kiley finished 5th overall in the ex-John Kine Sunbeam. After fighting off numerous challenges, Davy Evans and Roy Kernahan finished 4th overall in the Autotune Nissan. Brendan Fagan had failed to finish a Cork 20 rally from 13 starts, but his perseverance was rewarded with an excellent 3rd place in 1984. Austin McHale and Christy Farrell in the NDT Opel Mante had given it all they'd got, but still had a second for the runners-up spot after such a brilliant drive. Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan added the Uniroyal Cork 20 title to their long list of successes this year so far, and in doing so became the Irish Tarmac champions for 1984. Billy must now be the most sought-after driver in the British Isles, with several works teams queuing up for his services. This has been a Cork Video Services production, produced and directed by Flor Griffin, commentary by Michael Whyte. We leave you with these pictures of King Billy, the 1984 Irish Tarmac champion.